A few things to discuss in today's update video, starting off with the recent dump in Bitcoin. And actually it's not worrying at all because we had a CME gap the whole time. Right here, we had formed it on around January 1st of this year. So around 2-3 weeks ago now, and it's $88,200. And we can clearly see that we actually filled that gap fully now. So we're out of the clear for now. And we've actually in the process created another CME gap. It's a very small one, just a few dollars, but you can see it's right here. If I zoom in on the 1 hourly, you'll be able to see it a bit better. And you can see we have a CME gap here at around $93,000 per Bitcoin right here. So in the coming few days, I think we're gonna fill that gap before going down further. And therefore I would personally not think of taking any shorts or thinking that we're gonna go down, because as we know, 95% of the time these CME gaps which are formed over the weekend are being filled, and this was formed last weekend. Now the next thing I want to talk about is if we go actually on the Bitcoin chart, we can see it's obviously not looking good at all, right? We have a bear flag forming here. We can see clearly a bear flag like this, right? And usually these bear flags, they are bearish, so the price usually goes down from here. If we have this pattern, the pattern is just going down, then we trade upwards a bit, and then we go down again. That's the pattern. And we can see the same thing happen actually last time. So if you go to the last cycle in 2022, when we had a peak of $69,000 per Bitcoin, we also had a bear flag. And the bear flag went up to retest the 200 simple moving average, which we are now in the process of retesting. The 200 simple moving average currently is around about $105,000 per Bitcoin. Keep in mind we have a CME gap at 93,000. So what I think will happen is we're gonna go back up, fill the CME gap, also fill this 200-day simple moving average price point and bounce down from there, and then most likely go down, not as badly as the last cycles, not an 80% correction, but I think we're gonna go to around the mid 60,000s for Bitcoin. So between 65,000 to potentially 70,000 per Bitcoin, which would bring us right around this top side resistance where we've been trading on before in April of 2024. And I think we're gonna be bottoming out there and not at like $20,000 to $30,000 per Bitcoin as some people are predicting. And then of course, in around 6 months time or so, I think it's a good time to start buying again, but we're gonna slowly follow the market. And when the time is right, I'm gonna let you guys know that it's a good time to buy. Because keep in mind, we wanna be buying when everyone is selling, and we wanna be selling when everyone is buying. And that's usually how you make the most money. Now, the next thing I wanna talk about is the S&P 500. So if I go here to the S&P 500, it's not looking that good actually. We have a rising wedge. And a rising wedge is just, as we can see right here, the price is consolidating. It's consolidating into a rising wedge, and this usually is a bearish pattern. And we had the tariffs here last time, and we can see the same things happening right now. Trump is talking about the tariffs, and there's some escalation with Greenland, and usually these are bearish signs for Bitcoin. Now, the next thing to talk about is if we compare Bitcoin, so the S&P 500 to the Nasdaq, and the Nasdaq is basically the 100 largest non-financial stocks in the US. So these are usually tech stocks like Facebook and Alphabet, and we can see that they have been going down recently. And usually if they start going down, that's a leading indicator that the S&P 500 will start to go down following this. So I do expect that we are going to have a correction in the market, and Bitcoin, unfortunately, is still a risk-on asset, and it's not risk off like gold. So when there are times like market corrections, Bitcoin takes a dump. While gold, for example, people then take their money and put it into gold because they believe gold is very secure as an asset, and they will park their money in gold, for example, while there's a correction. So these assets usually like gold perform good during market corrections, while Bitcoin, you can see, is still not there yet. People still don't have that trust into Bitcoin, but that also means that we are still early. There's not that much adoption yet. And eventually, I think Bitcoin is going to go in the same direction as gold, whereby it's going to be a risk-off asset, meaning that if there are times of, market correction and times of bad things happening in the market dumping, Bitcoin should be going up eventually. And that is it for today's video. So as I said, I think what's going to happen next is, first of all, we fill the CME gap at around $93,000 per Bitcoin. And then we're going to go and retest the 200 simple moving average, which is around about 105 right here, before going down to around 65 to 70,000, which will co-align with here, the topside resistance. And that's it for today's video. Hope you guys liked it. See you next time. Bye.